What's up? We're here.
We are here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome
Thursday
to
morning.
Thursday morning.
Weird.
It does, doesn't it? But, I like the switch up. We're getting things done. We're making things happen. And, we have to go off of schedules. Sometimes. And this man was in Montana doing some education for our future generations of auctioneers.
At the Western College of Auctioneering in Montana.
It's true. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Would you be called a professor?
Sure. I put that on my resume when I'm applying for jobs. But beyond that,
Wait, you're applying for? No.
We've got to.
What?
Whoa. Got to diversify the portfolio a little bit, just so you know.
I just cleaned the party barn. You can't leave yet.
No, so
It's just a stepping stone.
It's just a stepping stone.
Just get it.
Feel it on my back.
No. At WCA in Bozeman, Montana, we had a group of 15 inspiring auctioneers that came and learned the craft of auctioneering.
The craft.
One and now two.
That is exactly
Where's my
it.
check?
That's exactly it. So it was fun. It's really neat to see how WCA has evolved as a school over the last couple of years. And this was the first time that I kind of looked around and I'm like, this is really neat what we're doing. And essentially they're going through growing pains, much like we are, where,
you haven't felt that. Because
yeah.
you had a concern about the future of the auctioneer for a little while.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So that's good that you're feeling that.
I do. And I think the evolution that I'm excited about is like watching some of these younger aspiring auctioneers kind of come into their own is pretty neat.
That's
so,
cool.
Over the last 5 years, we've had some pretty amazing students that have come through and they're like, I got the auction bug. I want to go and I want to learn more. And they're starting to go to conventions and all of a sudden they turn around and they become the teachers.
That's awesome.
And we have a group of about there's three individuals over there that essentially teach, and it's just cool to like sit back and watch a group of 5 instructors with 15 students is like, wow, we may be giving them too much information. We may be over critiquing them, but it's neat that everyone is there just to make sure that we are lifting and pushing that entire group forward.
Yeah,
so I'm
setting them
excited
out there on a good solid foundation.
A little bit.
And let them do what they want to do with
it. And like Nick has done a great job. Nick Bennett, leader of the school, has done a great job of like selecting certain individuals that all have almost their own superpower that are very different in the auction sphere, but they all come together in a very nice package, it seems.
That's cool.
Shelby just called himself a superhero.
So I said superpower.
Shelby is the superhero with superpowers. And I agree with that.
If anything is true, it's that we have to change consistently.
Always.
And Paul and I actually had a pretty fun weekend. We had a pipe burst on all of our audio-visual gear, and it has been a nightmare. We essentially had to get out of a storage space where all of our gear was set and ready to be deployed. Water came down, damaged a lot of that gear, and we got the opportunity to move it all out this weekend.
Yes.
And we didn't have to help because we had an auction, so we were very fortunate.
Well, flowers where flowers are due. Mark came on Friday.
He did.
And we got quite a bit done Friday afternoon. And then Paul came Saturday morning, and we spent another full day there, and it's all out. And boy, does it feel good to have that
behind us.
Yes.
Well, it's not all the way behind us, but it feels like a huge check mark, right?
Oh,
doesn't
big
it?
time. We've been wanting to get out of that storage unit for a while anyway.
Right.
And now we have the trailer grossly overloaded.
Temporarily.
We got it fitted there.
Yeah. So, long story short, I think that we are in a place of change, right? We've kind of talked about that when we were talking about our members workshop earlier this year, and we kind of had hey, let's go to work, let's have some fun. And then as you kind of come back and hit the ground running and the New Year's resolutions fall out of your mind and it becomes February, you're like, okay, how are we actually changing? And we are being forced to change in many ways.
Yeah.
With the storage unit, watching the auction school kind of grow up and come into its own, it's hitting a new chapter and a new plateau, which is pretty cool. But also I think having the big hurrah at the beginning of the year for our workshop, sending our members out there, and then watching them kind of say, okay, we got all this energy and gusto, let's go and put the plow in the ground. Sometimes you can get a little bit over ambitious, and I think we just have to calm down, trust our swing, and know that things will change, but not everything's going to change today.
Right.
That means you don't take it's not to say don't make any effort to change, just make incremental changes, I think, is
There
what
you
we
go.
should be focusing on.
And I think that in order for any change to stick, it has to be methodical change, not knee-jerk change. And on a substantially, well, no, not really, on just the same level, as much as we had to empty that,
Storage unit.
thank you, storage unit, and these guys, plus two beautiful little girls, plus a beautiful wife, plus
And
a
my
beautiful mother,
chiropractor.
and your
Beautiful mother.
chiropractor. So we had and beautiful. Yes, right. We had lots of people that were helping. I was here trying to get the party barn / office ready, and so one thing that I've been doing is being very methodical with my moves. Like, don't just move this stuff to another pile. Go through it. Do you need it? Do you love it? Get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Smart.
the challenge. That's why it's been taking so long. My point being, be methodical in your change so that it sticks and it becomes a part of your new regiment. Because oftentimes when change is coming, we throw everything out, right? And then just put it in another pile and we'll deal with that later. As opposed to now you're just starting something new and you haven't finished what you had. And I think that can speak to all parts of your life.
Yeah, and I think kind of the way I'm trying to focus this year is I'm trying to dedicate time to certain things. Because what I find is our time gets full and then we fill it with whatever's in front of us or whatever our attention is, and then you look back at things that you're trying to make an overarching change on and you haven't allotted the time for it.
Yeah.
So you almost have to carve the time out, make those methodical small steps every day, and that'll eventually lead to the overall outcome.
And don't feel defeated or deflated when you made a bunch of small steps in one day and you look and you go, I didn't do anything.
What did I get done? Yes.
You got a lot done, right? Whether it's methodical in your mind, whether it's personal change, take the baby steps that it takes, make them solid, make them a part of your new mantra, routine, environment, and be very okay with that small change is going to add up and you will see it at the end. I think that's really hard to do,
Yeah.
but very important.
Well,
to do.
I'm curious to see.
Getting a new car instead of just, changing everything in the car.
Dude, we need to get
Go
you some
ahead
car
and
help.
sell the car or trade it in and,
Get a new one.
get a new car.
Get a new car.
Just get a new car. That's a little off topic.
That's yeah.
That's
Car
change
issues.
coming for him.
Car issues.
Well, I mean, you've kind of had
We
the
all have
luck of
them.
it when it comes to cars. It seems like every time you get something fixed, 3 days later, it pops up something
I
new.
know. And I don't want this ghost phantom in my car. Somebody tried to steal my car, stuck a screwdriver in the ignition and screwed it all up. Got it fixed, and now I got some phantom. And I don't know if it'll ever
Well,
be
because the
fixed.
phantom is your car going, help me, sell me, I need to go away.
Set me free!
Set me free.
Set me free!
When my wife said that last night, I was like, okay, now we're one step closer.
It might be time.
But anyway, as far as change, after our seminar and our workshop and what we talked about, and everybody kind of gets excited about the upcoming season and moving forward and leadership changes, making some adjustments there. I think that I'm excited about this upcoming season for our team as a whole. And I think that if there is going to be incremental changes, we have to do it as a group.
Agreed.
I think we're going to have to be consistently on the same page of, okay, we're going to tackle 2024 fundraising and beyond as a group.
Yep.
And I think more and more input from our team on a very incremental level, right down to the brass tacks, would be helpful. Hopefully.
That
We'll
kind of,
see.
that caveats me into what I can talk about a little bit because, as a group, a Stokes Auction Group, we do have light parameters, but we do have some best practices that we do. And I think for everybody to be on the same page all the time is absolutely imperative for the success of an auction or gala or any kind of an event. In that the team has to be on the same page from the second they show up until they leave. And I think that we have a tendency sometimes to forget that. So I'm taking this opportunity this year also to how can I make sure that our team on site is 100% successful in how they function? And so I kind of ran into that this last weekend where our team was a little separated, and it showed in our auction. Yeah. So as auctioneers, you have a responsibility to your team, as well as your team has a responsibility to you to, up before the auction, stay together so that notes that are received after your meeting are given to the whole team. You see what I'm saying?
This is a communication issue.
It's a communication issue, and it is because we have gotten comfortable, right?
Well, I mean, I'll hop in there because I'm super guilty of this. I am very guilty of misstepping on this specific point because essentially, like, it lives in my head. I know what needs to happen, and I don't fully communicate that to my team very often.
Mm-hmm.
And because, like, I have the experience to where I know this item will double at $1,500, I'll tell you it's a double, and I won't tell you where it needs to double. You know what I mean? Like, I have a tendency to gravitate that way. Like, don't worry, I got it. And I know that I personally could do a lot better in communicating to the team, like, hey, here are the expectations of the client.
Yeah.
Especially when you know you're coming into an event that's like very high stress or there's a lot of moving pieces. I need to be better about that. Yeah.
And if you know that there's people like, and that's the importance of that team together. You need to let your auctioneer go away before the auction and get in his head, because that's what you guys got to do. You're taking the mic, you're controlling that room, right? But the information that your bid spotters have, that the information that your bid spotters should have will help you.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if that double that's coming is a guy clear back in that corner, boom, all of a sudden your ringman's lost because they don't have that information, right? Or information was given to one ringman and nobody else had it. That's a problem. So
it could be a problem.
It could be a problem, but you have to assume, my opinion, you have to assume that it's going to be a problem. So you have to educate everybody with the notes that you have, because they are supposed to be your arm out there helping you, you know. And the more information they have and the more you stick together and the more, because, you know, we all get pulled at those things. And if you know you're going into a high stress situation, that auctioneer should be able to share, if they didn't get it in the meeting with their bid spotters, here's my high maintenance people. I need you to wear this person tonight. So I need you to work that side of the room. Here's why I need you to wear them. You know, they're going to come to you with this. They're going to come to you with that. They're going to come to you with that.
Right.
Over here, you're going to probably have a guy stand up and double that item, but he says, absolutely no, don't double it in the meeting, right? But I know he's going to stand up and he's going to double that. They may seem like small little things that your ringman don't need to know, but if one ringman has more information than the other ringman, or the auctioneer has more information than they've shared with the ringman, that potentially could cause grief and will. It will either make, I think, here's something I believe, and it's not just my feelings, because trust me, I ain't got too many of those anymore, but and they're gone. But
Cold.
yeah,
cold.
no, I'm not cold. I'm just very, you know, I'm kind of like a little ringman, professional bid spotters, whatever you want to call them, need to also feel some worth that night. Mm-hmm. It's important for them. And if they're not given information, they're not going to keep a good book for you. They're not going to give a crap about you. They're going to be like, oh, he's Mr. Superman on the microphone. But if they feel like they are a part of it, they're going to want that success more. And granted, you might be busy. It might be, but to take 5 minutes with your ringman or your team and say this is beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces there, right? And it really makes me feel like, is there a way to, like, surface this knowledge to make it more digestible for the entire team? And that's really what it goes back to. You know, it's always been our best practice to show up on site, kind of cross T's, dot I's, as a full group. You know, maybe some of that being communicated beforehand could be beneficial. You know, that's something that I have not taken on, but maybe something to consider, definitely. Like, hey, here's the 15 items that have different features that we need to work through, whether
Yeah.
they be minimums or potential doubles or whatever the case may be. So I think that like your
And you could do that with
preparation
your
and
pre-call.
communication is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a call with your clients.
Mhm.
You both do. You call your clients. You're supposed to call your ringman and say, hey, dude, don't be there till this time, or hey, gal, don't be there till this time, da-da-da. By the way, in case I forget night of, here's a couple of sticky wickets that I'm aware of right now.
The sticky wickets.
And make that,
Depending on the situation, I do that.
yeah, I mean, make that call to your bid spotters or your back of the house people or whatever, equally as important as that one with your client. And that can be, crisis averted early on.
Yeah.
Or make that call and say, and don't forget, we need to hang together as a team. Because that's important. And that was my stomach that just gurgled, in case you were wondering.
Jeez Louise, eat something.
Goodness
Is that how you're
gracious.
losing all the weight?
My stomach's a little bit like,
I feel
Feed
like
me.
I know I have. I have established this a long time ago for bid spotters that I work with on a consistent basis. Know this already. But I have established this from the beginning. And I will continue to do that when I work with a new bid spotter.
yeah,
And it all depends on their level of experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say to them before we even meet with the customer, with the client, and do our sit down, because I go through everything. I start doors open at 5, this and that. I go from top to bottom. And I tell my bid spotters prior, it's like, hey, during this meeting, I may ask you, what do you think? I may ask your opinion about something, okay? If everybody feels like I'm the one in charge, is that a fact?
yes,
Okay. I just don't approach it that way.
right,
I spread the leadership around
yeah.
because I think that the more they know, the better chance I have of not forgetting something.
As well as the person that you're meeting with now sees you as a cohesive team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As opposed to, our meetings at 5, show up at 5:30 or 6. You need to at least tell your head ringman to show up during that meeting, have that meeting with you. Sit silently, because if it's an idea, you own it. So if it fails, it's on you. If it's successful, it's on you. But don't overstep your auctioneer. A little different with Mark and Kelly, because, I say, what do you think about this?
There's a little thing called we're married.
We're married.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So if those people are in your meeting, that takes some heat off of you having to take that extra time, right? Because they were in the meeting too. So I just think that moving forward, for me personally, I'm going to be way better with, the people that are on site with us to ensure that they are a part of that team, that they do feel that they are as important as that auctioneer. Because
That's what I think is the important
they
part
are.
here.
They
That's
are.
exactly what my point was.
Yeah.
Nobody's more important than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's what I want to convey to my team.
Yeah. And you guys do plenty that are on your own, so you don't have to worry about that. However, the ones that you're not on your own, I think that that's something moving forward. We need to make that baby step, like change we were talking about, make it small incremental steps that stick.
Yeah, and I think
You know?
like this can be like blown out to just basically any team, right? It's like leadership and appreciation.
Yeah.
Like if a teammate doesn't feel appreciated or underappreciated, they're not going to put in the work to
Right.
make it happen. Right, and we had talked about a number of people on your team this weekend that went above and beyond when maybe they didn't have to.
Right.
And probably saved the day.
Yeah.
So I think that like those individuals that are really going above and beyond, they need to feel appreciated. And even if they're not like feeling appreciated, they may show up in a different light if they do feel appreciated. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And if they feel more like it is Stokes Auction Group, the team. My husband always says, which it always has floored me, we're the auction, he either says auction team or auctioneers. I'm not an auctioneer, right? In an absolute hot, dramatic, whatever second, yes, I'll take that mic and help,
Yeah.
right? But it's got to be like,
To take it to not to. Hey, I know an auction school.
I know an auction girl, right?
I'm trying to get
But
a
you know what I'm
Bozeman.
saying?
Yeah.
But he introduces us as that.
Yeah.
We're the auctioneers tonight. So he doesn't have a separation of his team. He's always been very good about that. He doesn't say, this is my wife or
This is my bid spotter.
this is my bid spotter. He always says we're the auction team or we're the auctioneers or which gives them the indication that we're all one unit.
Yeah.
And I don't think all of our auctioneers do that. And I think it would be lovely if they would. Number one, they have to check their ego at the door. And that's something that we're focusing on in 2024 too, right? Is that, it takes a lot to get on that mic and command a room. So you have to have ego.
Right.
But when you're the man,
we could do a whole episode on ego. I would love to break down ego for an hour. Right. But no, I think taking the through lines of this conversation, I think it really is about team and appreciation.
yes.
And I think I'm appreciative of what we've been able to accomplish thus far. We started talking about change and now we're talking about team. And I think that the change that we're seeing in 2024 is that we do want to lift up our members and the community to the best of our ability. And I think that's something that we really need to truly focus on for this coming year.
Agreed.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think if I took anything from the member workshop, it's the fact that we've been so separated and on our own island that there is some underappreciation that some of our team members have felt.
Agreed.
And trying to lift everybody up and move into this next year, I think is something that we really need to focus on. That said, it's not all going to happen in a day.
No.
Right? And I think that that's something we need to keep in mind. It needs to be incremental, slow change. And I'm excited. You look around this room, and this room has changed quite a bit. You may not see anything on the back end,
Super changed.
but
great.
we're making changes in here, and we're going to continue to make changes in 2024. That said, you kicked off the fundraising season. What was the vibe of the fundraising room?
Great.
Great.
It was great, and it was an unusual year.
Mm-hmm.
It was an unusual year, for sure. But I think we're headed for a logical fundraising season.
A logical fundraising season. So what you're saying is based in reality, not crazy.
You cannot base our future fundraising in 2024 off of Franklin Academy.
That's true. Yeah.
Because ain't no way that gonna happen.
Well,
They were up 55%. We had one beautiful gentleman, which has started the whole thing. Nick Kaiser. I hate to throw names out there, but anyway, he donated. He said, "I'm going to match that funding." Then Mimi came in halfway through the auction and said, "I'm going to match it too."
Yeah.
So you don't.
Wow.
Yeah. So our funding need was times 3.
Double match.
No, yeah, double match times 3. It was incredible. So that was lovely. As far as the giving, same thing. Some items hit, some items do not hit.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how this season evolves. And you're right, one sample set is not enough to justify the entire trend of the season.
I think we're headed logical.
But I'm very interested to see how February goes in terms of fundraising numbers and in the event space. We've had years where you're like, I'm not sure, and then it goes crazy. And then you've had years where you're like, yep, it's going to be a great year, record breaker, and it's like, wah, wah, wah. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes with the election year coming up.
And that is a
normally
huge.
You see the stock markets
Yeah,
up,
there's
but there's
so
some
much
uncertainty going on.
There is,
for
and
sure.
the election years you never know what's going to happen in that year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You never know what's going to happen, right? You're on a teeter-totter the entire time.
Buckle up, Buttercup. The mind
Woo!
is over, baby.
Lord have mercy.
We are off script.
Let the
time-
liberals
do you
and
have time
Republicans and Democrats start fighting.
You have time for one more quick thing?
Yeah.
The funding need that you raised at Franklin,
Mm-hmm.
without the matches, was it up or down from last year?
Up.
It was up. So what would that tell you? Did you announce that they're matched before you started the funding need?
We did.
Did the second match come in the middle of the funding need?
Nope. We
were-
announced them both at the front end.
And so the core money raised in the room could have been positively affected by that announcement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's been arguments over the years is, do you save this? Somebody's like, well, it's going to be matched. I don't have to give as much. You
And
see
I
where
think
I'm going?
yeah. And again, I think it depends on if you're talking about cancer, if you're talking about diabetes, if you're talking about schools, if you're talking about, it really depends on what you're talking about. Here we're talking about a school.
Okay.
We're talking about a school with people in the room that absolutely love this school. Pepper should go there because she could learn some manners. But, so different vibe at school auctions, especially private school auctions,
So that,
I'm going to be interested to see, because February is American Heart Month.
Oh, right.
So I'm going to be very interested to see how these galas go, the heart galas.
Right.
That will tell us some stuff, because that's for the ticker.
That is. Yeah.
And sometimes, shockingly, they struggle.
Yeah. Well,
And we all have a heart.
yeah.
Well, most of us have a heart. I know quite a few people that don't have a heart.
Oh, really? The mechanical ones? Hey,
I know some people that have a heart.
well, good stuff, folks. Thanks for joining us this week. Welcome to February. Fundraising season has officially kicked off, and will only continue to get heated. It will only continue to heat up in the near future.
Or get heated.
Or get heated. Let's get heated. Thanks for joining us this week. We will see you next time.
Next week, same time, same place. Well, same time,
Same time,
different day.
different day.
Maybe not the same time.
Same place.
Same place.
Oh, okay.
Same place. for
Same
sure.
place.
For
So,
sure.
keep your heart right and your vision clear.
Right on, gang. Take care. Be well. See you next time.
And go do good. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Cool.
Cool.
That was a good
Thanks,
one.
dude.
Yeah, man.